Some clerical stuff. I want to thank the Naval Academy for my my blazer or top coat, and it says $50 billion man. Same kind they give to the presidents. I'm more worthy than the presidents, but anyway. Second thing I want to thank is the Captain America who got me my medals 50 years late. Not his fault 50 years late, but the government. And I've been asking for them over the years. You can get them over there. Like sex, it all comes at the end. And where's the fucking Goomba? Yeah, your slide is coming up. Okay. There's always a Goomba in every group. It's better when they talk like him. It's better when they talk like him, though. Okay. Last night you saw my long-time mentee. We saved him to the end. Not like sex, but we saved him to the end. What's the takeaway from watching him speak? Yeah.
If you want a high-performance organization, it has to revolve around the efficiency and efficacy of the internal feedback between management and the team.
Yeah, but that's an oxymoron. You can buy a book to tell you that. I mean, you only...
Well, you said it was more eloquent.
Yeah, but you're only as good as... Remember I said you're only as good as your direct reports. And most of you, your mother, your father, your cousins, some pendejo Mexican wetback are your direct reports, i.e. the results you get are dog shit. And in some cases, you're the direct reports. You're dog shit, so the information you're feeding up is dog shit. And then so the top echelon, it's dog shit personified. So you're only as good as your direct reports, which means you're only as good as the information they give you. And most of not you, but I mean most people on the planet don't want brutal honesty because they want to feel good about, and the people that are reporting to you want to keep their job. So then we have just a circle jerk. And whether you have a small business or medium-sized business for yourself, and you bought yourself a job, which I've been saying the last few days, the information you get. And remember, when you start a business, the first 50,000 is geometric growth. The next 50,000 is geometric growth. The next 500,000 is geometric growth. And then you stop playing to win and you start playing not to lose. And it's across the board. And now, Facebook, Google, Microsoft are just big, behemoth, monolithic organizations, less vis-a-vis Amazon. What else about Klaus? Yeah.
He's a non-alpha male, yet very focused, very decisive.
98% of the super high performance, 98% of all managers are non-alpha male, but 98% of the high performance managers are non-alpha males. And the Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, and I've named a whole bunch of them. And a number of the guys and gals on my influencers are non-alpha males. What else? Yes?
You makes it too complicated.
Well, we're going to see Josh today, his webinar he did here during the August seminar. And notwithstanding he repeats himself 2 or 3 times, but He worried about stuff that has not happened to him yet in 3 years. 90% would be an exaggeration, but at least 75% of the questions you've asked me so far are never going to happen to you. Maybe I'm higher than 75. Never. Just wait. But it's the things that keeps people from succeeding. Remember, it's harder to stay successful than get successful. And the fear of success is oftentimes greater than the fear of failure. Because you're used to failing. Makes you all warm and fuzzy. You don't expect to succeed, other than above being average because of the benchmarks that you've set up, because of your parents set up, and all that stuff I've already repeated myself on several times. But I mean, I say sarcastically, a stiff drink and a good fuck could kill the guys that come through the seminar. And what I'm really saying is that you can't take, you couldn't take the brutal honesty of subordinates, because you'd feel threatened. And so you don't get it because they feel threatened because they don't want to lose their job, and it becomes a vicious circle. What else?
He said that you have to be prepared that in order to have quantum leap success, you have to change your quantum leap leadership.
Yeah, I mean, you have to work on your leadership skills. Now, most people that come through here have virtually no leadership skills, not even Leadership 101. And remember, when I go to the schools, universities, whether the business schools or the regular schools, and I believe I said it at the Naval Academy, how many classes, it's different at the Academy, how many classes have you had in leadership? Yeah, they raise their hand. Okay, how many classes have you had in buying a business? Nobody raises their hand. How many classes have you had in selling a business? Nobody raises their hand. And with 5 or 6 schools around the world that teach leadership, because they're mostly military academies, so the thing that you need to be able to do to lead your people, you don't learn, and so it perpetuates itself semester after, if you're going to school, semester after semester, and if you're not and you're just in the regular format of life, year after year after year, decade after decade, generation after generation, and i.e. the greatest generation, the generation that saved our bacon in World War II, that is pretty much drained out. I'm the last of the sperm bank of that generation, because that's where my parents came from, and that's where their buddies came from. What else about Klaus?
Whenever he has a piece of paper or an email that he gets sent and has to read, as soon as he touches it, he forces himself to draw a conclusion and make a decision.
Correct. And the management report system that you get is the one he uses. And it's the NATO, the same format that I had at NATO, that one page, if you can't explain it on one page, they're not interested. And it's basically, what were your goals for the day, for the week, for the month, whatever? What did you accomplish? And what were the challenges? And then those 3 sections are expanded. And I learned, reporting to a 1-star general who was a real ballbuster, Roy Atterbury, and your report is a derivative of that report, and that report is a derivative of the same report you can Google online that they use at NATO, United States Army, Europe, and other military commands at the administrative level. What else? Yeah.
What is your view, and Klaus alluded to this as well, escalating issues by subordinates? Do you want them to come to you immediately, or having thought about it first and come
well, I personally want them to come to me, but with 3 alternatives.
Yeah. Ray Dalio doesn't want that.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I want 3 alternatives. And in your report, when you list we have now, instead of just problems, we call them challenges, But I want you to give 3 alternatives. The best alternative is number 1, the second best is number 2, and the least best in your judgment. And then I'll comment 1, okay, or I'll highlight part of 1 and part of 3, which means what I highlight in 1 and what I highlight in 3 is the answer. Or I'll put, what are you fucking smoking? You know, because you're not even close with any of the 3. But what it gets is it allows me to see how you think and what fact pattern you're thinking along, and to develop a new fact pattern. And after 3 or 4 weekly reports, many of you will get it. Some don't get it till, after that. But it also depends. See, a lot of people that come here have never been really in a management position other than they own their own business. And they've never had to compete against anybody other than their cousin or their father or some, dipshit. And you hire people in your own likeness. You don't hire anybody like me. I mean, just like when I interviewed when I got out of school, they said me being in those 2 big organizations would be like a round peg in a square hole. So when the business is the same for 1 or 2 generations, it's because your parents hired people like them, or people that they felt comfortable with, and they were not threatened by. I always wanted at least 3 people in the organization that would stab me in the back. 3. Sometimes I had 5 that wanted my job and were willing to almost do anything to get it. And that legal, ethical, and moral didn't swing in their closet. They did anything. But I wasn't threatened by them. And I knew that the division heads that these guys were running, they were competing, how much bottom line, how much cash flow, how much top line were they not donating, but contributing to the overall group. Not dissimilar to what Jack Welch, when he trained 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 3 guys to be his replacement. And then in his infinite wisdom, he picked Emmelt, and the other 2 guys left immediately to run big organizations someplace else. What else about Klaus? I believe he stood right about here, if I remember correctly. And he's just like that. He's just like that. When you were at Siemens, did you come across that way at Siemens?
Yes, and whatever he said, he's already implemented there. I could relate to many of the things that he said.
Yeah. Because he was at Siemens when Klaus left in 2007. Well, Klaus was there for 20 plus years, but I mean, 2007 is when he left. Anything else?
Don't get fooled by your own success.
And I've alluded 2 or 3 times, you start to believe your own press clippings. I mean, you start to, because it's a good feeling when people blow smoke up your backside. And especially for those that haven't been in a position of high performance and success, it's a new experience for you. And you like it. And you start to surround yourself with yes men. And that's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for disaster. You also saw the deal on NEOM, which the area that I know, the 25,000 square kilometers, is not look like that. It looked like they're ready to put on Disney World, fucking Saudi Arabia on that area. I don't know where they get those cliffs and that water and all that stuff. All I know is it's like the middle of Australia with desert. That's what I remember. That's what I remember. But of the 500 billion that's been committed by the Sauds, the kingdom family, the ruling family, they've already led about 5.5 billion in contracts. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but they're building 3 new palaces. Like they need new palaces there. 3 new palaces. And the major lion's share of the contracts are big Saudi construction companies. But even the overflow of those contracts, the 10, 20, or 30% that's going to go to regular folk are going to make billionaires, a lot of them. And as I predicted, they're going to make a million billionaires. I also predict that that's a 50-year project. They're talking about 25 or 20. I mean, what are they smoking? They're smoking some shit there for sure. But I mean, it's certainly not going to happen that quickly. I mean, that's a couple generations. And when they loosened the rules up for women, and women can drive, and now women can leave the house without their brother or their husband. I mean, it was the beginning of a transformation. Because they're not going to get Westerners there if their wife can't leave the house unless they leave with their husband or their brother or something like that, and that's the way it used to be. I don't know if they're loosening up the burqa rules or not. And then on the other side of that burqa rule thing, France, which was always considered a liberal country, they talk liberal, but they don't act liberal. They don't want them wearing burqas, and it's quite not amusing, but it's amazing. And but the rioting that's going on around the world, you're not going to see in Saudi Arabia. That's not going to happen. And even if it did happen, there'd be no news, so you wouldn't see it until they got it all cleaned up, because that's just not going to happen. In that regard, they control the news, not dissimilar to what China does. Anything else on either one of those? Any comments? But he got the same input that you're getting. The same, yeah.
Before QLA, coming to the castle, what was he doing?
He was a middle manager. There's a little dispute. In fact, I think he talked about it in the beginning of the talk. I remember as a middle manager in healthcare. He remembers himself as a senior manager in healthcare. We're mincing words there. He was a fucking manager in healthcare. That, absolute. We both agree on that. He had a PhD, and he wasn't Bavarian, and he had some pretty high and lofty goals. And we met. Our first meeting was October of '97 at I believe the Churchill Hotel for coffee. And he ran healthcare ultimately, and then he became Chief Operating Officer of America, Siemens, and then Chief Executive Officer of America, USA Siemens, and then asked to join the Corporate Executive Board. Okay, YouTube.